Hi, welcome in. It's Shaped by Kate. We're going to get started at the top of our mat today. Finding a sun salutation A from the front to the back of our mat, we're going to roll our shoulders back, find mountain pose. On your exhale, roll down into a forward fold. On your inhale, find half lift, flatten out your back. Exhale, plant your hands firmly on the ground, step out into a plank pose. Shift forward and lower down, and then you're going to inhale, rise to a cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, bring your hips towards the sky, flip the toes under, find downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the heels high, almost coming onto your tiptoes, and then exhale, firmly press them into the mat. Find another round of breathing in downward facing dog. And then we'll walk our hands to our feet to the back of our mat, finding our forward fold again. Adding more of an openness to this forward fold, we're going to bring our hands to our Achilles or our ankles. If you can't reach, bend your knees. On your inhale, find half lift. Keep your hands there, so bend your knees if you need. And then on your exhale, press those hands firmly into the back side of your leg. Try to touch your forehead towards your knees or your shins. Gently release your hands and inhale to rise up back to our first pose, mountain pose. Settle into mountain pose, and on a deep inhale, reach hands to the sky, catch hold of one wrist and lean to the opposite direction. As you lean that hip to the side, drop your fingertips towards the earth and find a forward fold. Rock side to side, and then when you're ready, roll back up to your upright position and head to the other side. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky, catch hold of your opposite wrist, lean to the other side. To find more space for your body, your fingertips kind of go towards the front of your mat while hips press back. Landing in your forward fold again, and then making our way to the earth, we're going to inhale, find half lift. Exhale to walk hands into your plank pose. Inhale to shift forward, and on our exhale, we're going to hold chaturanga. So hold for your inhale, hold for your exhale. At any point, you could come to your knees. Keep holding this pose. Finding heat and strength in this chaturanga. Find 2 inhales and 2 exhales. Be gentle with your body. And then flip to the tops of your feet. Inhale, find upward facing dog. Really open up that chest forward. Let your breath guide you back to downward facing dog. Again, be gentle as you flip the toes under and settle in. Then when you're ready, we're going to drop the knees down to the earth, slide palms forward, find puppy pose. Belly comes off the thighs, crawl the fingertips more forward if you need, open the heart to the earth. And again, find strength in this pose, so use your breath to really tone into how your muscles are feeling today. Maybe this practice is just to add a little heat to the body, or you're finding strength for those handstands. Your next inhale, gaze towards the top of your mat. Keep your back bend as you press up to the top, setting your belly and chest on the earth. And then find your Sphinx pose, forearms stay on the ground. Each inhale breath, that belly button is pulling up towards your nose, really expanding the belly. On an exhale breath, those toes curl under, and we're lifting the hips away from the earth, finding a forearm plank. Option to stay here or bring your hips to the sky, walk toes forward, find dolphin pose. From dolphin, I want you to try to find downward facing dog, so press your palms into the earth. Exhale, press forearms away from the ground. Walk it back to a downward facing dog. This down dog is going to be a little bit more narrow, so walk your hands back a bit more and bring feet together. Inhale, lift the heels high. Exhale, bend the knees, press belly to thighs. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, you're going to shift your whole body weight forward onto your wrist. Hips are still high like in downward facing dog. Now repeat this motion. So press back, bend the knees. Exhale, press forward, shoulders over wrist. Keep flowing back and forth till you sort of get to the hang of it. This is the same motion that we do when you go into a handstand, stacking the body. With that being said, your last one, you're going to hop your feet to the top of your mat, find a half lift to forward fold. Hang here for a breath or two, and then make your way back to that narrow downward facing dog with the feet together. This time you have the option to do the same thing or do it with one leg. If you are, let's inhale the left heel up to the sky, three-legged dog. Lift your right heel high, bend the right knee, press your belly to your thigh. Exhale to stack the body over the wrist. This time just with that one leg. Do this a couple times, and then when you're ready, this time just the right foot flips off the ground. Find a half lift. Exhale to a fold. Rest here for a breath or two. Gently make your way to the other side. So find narrow downward facing dog. Inhale the right heel off the ground. Lift the left heel, bend the left knee, press belly to thigh. Exhale, shift everything forward. Now, I kind of feel like my stance was too wide, so I'm going to walk my toes in and redo that pose. So just know you can always walk forward or walk back if it doesn't feel right. It should feel like you're coming into a handstand without actually hopping off the ground until your last move. Once you've made that hop towards the top of your mat, find a half lift to forward fold. Then we'll just find a forward fold at the back of our mat. So you can just step your feet back and then your hands walk back to meet your feet. Forward fold. Bring your hands about 1 or 1.5 steps in front of your feet firmly on the ground. Bend your knees if you need to. Bring your feet together. Inhale, come onto your tiptoes, lift the heels high and lift your hips high. Exhale, shift hips and shoulders over your wrist until your feet float and shift forward. I like to think of this pose as falling forward and doing a handstand without any jumping. Do this along the length of your mat, and then to rest, once you get to the top of your mat, we're just finding a malasana squat. By this point, your core should feel on fire because your hips have been trying to lift your feet off into a handstand without actually jumping into it. If that felt super wrist heavy too, take this moment in Malasana to just gently roll the wrist against each other, switching direction when you need. As you're breathing in and out, feel that centerness on your feet. Feel the strength within you. Then to open up our wrist more, we're going to come out of Malasana and find tabletop pose. From tabletop, we're going to circle our shoulders around our wrists, and there's a few options for our fingertips. They can either be facing forward, face the edges of your mat, or face your knees, just depending on how wrist heavy you'd like this exercise. Create circles with your shoulders, and then when you're ready, you can shift forward and back, practicing bearing weight on your palms. As you're sitting here opening up your wrist, imagine yourself going into a handstand. So think about your legs in the air. Think about your body perfectly aligned. Find another breath or two, and then when you're ready, shift back into a hero pose. Shake out the wrist. Take an inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Then meet me in that narrow downward facing dog, this time making it a little bit more narrow. We'll be combining those down dog shift forwards and our handstand little press ups. This time as you bend the knees, press back, exhale, shift forward. You'll just do this a couple times as what feels comfortable to prep for your handstand. And then when you're ready, on your exhale breath, press forward and kick your feet into the air. You can at first try a little donkey kick, so just think more about hips stacking over shoulders and forget about the legs. And then when you feel more comfortable, you can start to extend the legs to the sky. We've warmed up our shoulders, core, and wrist a lot for this pose, so take about the next minute to practice this. Although I could hold this handstand for a little bit, if my chin were tucked in, hands more grounded down, and pelvis tucked in, I would have been able to sit in this handstand a little bit longer. There are many ways to practice your handstands, and this version really focuses in on your core doing the work. When we're lifting both feet off the ground, our core uses its strength to lift that whole lower body above our upper body. Shake out your wrists when you need. Take any restorative poses in between your handstand poses. It's a lot of trial and error, so go ahead and just take this time to maybe try it 1 or 2 more times, and then you can meet me in a hero pose. After your last handstand, just give yourself a moment to thank yourself for being strong today and make your way to that hero position. Bend your knees, uncurl the toes, and shake out your wrists. Heading more into our wrist cool down, we're going to flex the left hand, and then you're going to take your right hand and just slide it over that wrist, almost as if you're putting on an imaginary glove. Then you're going to curl the fingers in and roll out the wrist. Do a couple times one way and then switch direction. Switching to the other side, flex your right hand, put on your imaginary glove, flex the fist in, and then roll out the wrist. Gracefully set the arms down by your side, and then slide palms forward. Let's find our child's pose. Heading into slower breathing if that heart rate was picked up. If those handstands was a lot for your shoulders, then you can reach back towards your feet, let the forearms fall on the earth, palms open up to the sky. Slow down your breath and let that belly feel heavy against your thighs, thighs feel heavy against your calves, and then the lower legs feel heavy against the earth. Try to find a stillness in the thought process and just let your breath be your movement in both your body and your mind. As you bring more awareness to your inhales and exhales, you can sort of start to quiet the mind, especially if you tend to have lots of thoughts running around in your brain. You can just think about how your inhale breath pushes up your spine to the sky, and how your exhale breath lets you sink closer to the earth. Slowly start to tuck the tailbone down. Inhale to roll up to your hero pose. Start to bring your hands to heart center. If this isn't a comfortable pose, you can come to an easy pose. While we're here, just take another moment to send gratitude for being strong today, finding this time to find movement. Now bowing forward as respect to your yoga practice, namaste.